biyahe natin. And let's start the day with our daily starter from Luis Hay. And Luis Hay says, you have criticized yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. I think this daily starter applies both individually and nationally because Filipinos, wag niyo pong mamasamain, please do not be offended, but Filipinos largely tend to be critical, self-critical, critical of others, and critical of the country. So, Pilipino kasi, etc. Ay, nako, only in the Philippines, etc. And, you know, it comes with the culture, it comes with events, it comes with for many reasons. But as Louis Hayes has said, we've done it for years and it didn't get us anywhere. So, on a personal level, at least, medyo bawasan natin yung self-criticism na, hindi, pangit kasi ako, hindi kasi hindi ako nakapagtapos, or I'm short. That is the reality. We have Barangay 411, it's genetic, it's not cultural, okay? So, let us stop being self-critical, and as I said yesterday, excuses are a lie we tell about ourselves. Let's stop giving excuses. Let's stop being self-critical and start approving ourselves. Like, pagtingin mo sa salamin, when you look at yourself in the mirror, go, hi there, good looking, hi there, gorgeous, and say, okay, this is a great country to be in because we can still do things the Filipino way. You know, there are many things that we do in the Philippines that we could never get away with in other countries. And of course, it contributes to the chaos. Pero dito, sabi nga nila, dito may katulong ka pa. Dun sa ibang bansa, wala. Although me and my wife, we are basically on our own, we do things on our own, and I guess that's why we're also healthy. So, kaya natin be less self-critical, be more positive, and let's see what happens, you know. Try to be less critical and more approving of yourself. Okay, wag bawal yung pwede na yan, ha? Bawal yung pwede na. Kasi okay yung trabaho ko. Okay, let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star, Wednesday, January 18, 2023. And the headline goes, okay, PNP to step up drive versus onion smugglers. Okay, in a radio interview, the chief PNP General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. said yesterday that the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group will start looking into onion smugglers operation and activities kasi mukhang mainit na ulo ng DILG at ng presidente dahil pinupukol na sila ng batikos. They are being harshly criticized for the onion. And sorry, Mr. President, we would like to be supportive. We pray for you. We want you to succeed. But, you know, while you are enjoying the atmosphere in Switzerland, kami dito, nagtitiis kami sa tira-tirang sibuyas. Okay, so the PNP will step up its drive, and at the top of the front page, we have also PNP Chief Azurin saying that senior narco cops still holding key positions. Okay, this is probably going to draw a lot of flack towards Chief PNP Azurin because in an interview, he also said that some of the suspected pala ang na mga generals and colonels who they suspect are involved in illegal drug trade or are protectors of illegal drug traders or drug lords are still in position in the PNP. Okay? Although he reiterated, there are only a handful of them. Handful. So baka 5, baka 10. Okay? But that is certainly going to draw flack because, you know, it is like, alam mo ng kriminal, alam mo na, pinaghihinalaan mo na, kumbaga, there is cause to suspect. Why are you allowing them to hold on to very powerful and sensitive positions? Okay, so yun po. No? Meanwhile, for a bit of good news, the Department of Finance Secretary has shared that the economy, he believes, will grow by 6.5% this year. Okay, yan po, sana magkatotoo, and they're being optimistic, and Secretary Jokno said that in comparison to other countries in the region, our economic growth is still on the upper margin, much better than other countries. Okay, so yun po. Meanwhile, that array of photos at the upper portion of the Philippine Star is a photo of different CEOs, chief executive officers of big Philippine corporations who were with President Bongbong Marcos in Davos, Switzerland. Okay, the Economic Development Team or Economic Development Cluster of Malacanang hosted a welcome lunch or dinner for the president and his entourage, where he spent time with the likes of Ramon Ang, Lance Gokongwei, Kevin Tan, Sabine Aboitis, Enrique Razon, Jaime Augusto Zubelde Ayala, and Tessie C. Coson. Ayun po. During that event, the president gave a speech and said that countries can't afford to adopt protectionism. Kumbaga, hindi na tayo pwedeng kanya-kanya, hindi na pwede yung kami muna or mauna kami. We need to cooperate and we need to stop taking sides or stop forcing countries to choose between friends. Okay, so very good point, and I do hope that in the succeeding events in Davos that the president gets to talk to the other delegations and not just his own. Okay, so in the middle of the front page, we have a photo of Binondo, okay, Chinatown, where they are preparing for the Chinese Lunar New Year on January 22. Sa linggo po yan, Chinese New Year. And yun, okay, medyo pinaghahandaan because this year is the year of the water rabbit. Okay, be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Kasi alam naman nyo, pag sinabing rabbit, some of the farmers say, they multiply like rabbits. Okay, sana po dumami. I do hope that in the year of the water rabbit, your businesses multiply, your money multiplies, your fortune multiplies, pero sana po iwasan natin yung mag-multiply like rabbits na mga babies, okay? Kasi medyo yung ating ekonomiya ay gumagapang pa rin regardless of all the pronouncements of analysts and government officials, kasi yung pong sinasabing growth rate forecasted growth rate for the economy, the only way that our economy will grow is if each and every Filipino does his share. Baga, wag na kayong mag-intay, dumating yung sibuyas, magtanim na kayo. Don't wait for prices to go down for eggs. I am already raising layers and we have a steady supply of eggs, okay? And beginning next month, iniintay ko lang because here in Lipa, it is still cold. Well, I think onions can tolerate this, but onions love warm weather. So anyway, so Sunday is the Chinese Lunar New Year, January 22. And ayan po yung picture kanina, meron pang naghahanda ng mga dragon costumes because that will surely be that guy there is Terry Sikat displaying a rabbit head for this year's dragon dance. Akala ko pa naman kanina dragon, rabbit pala. Parang na-breed yung dragon sa rabbit. Pwede kaya yan sa manok. Okay, I'm just trying to entertain all of you out there because it's really a funny looking rabbit, okay? Baka rabbit na galit o rabbit na aggressive. Okay, meanwhile, the Sugar Regulatory Administration is going to recommend to the President for the selling of seized sugar through Kadiwa stores. Okay. Meron daw po kasing mga nakumpiska equivalent to 80,000 bags of sugar. Parang ang dami, no? Pero pag inisip ninyo, baka sa Metro Manila lang kulang na kulang pa yan, okay? Baka in a matter of 1 or 2 days, that can all disappear because people who go to Kadiwa stores are not all yung mga mahihirap or nagtitipid ng gusto. There are also some people who are very opportunistic. They line up at the Kadiwa store, they buy, and then they sell or resell. And yun po, nagiging issue nga yung Kadiwa store because in an article allegedly written or posted by Winnie Munsod, si Tita Winnie, kinwestiyon niya bakit binibili yung onion ng something like 400 or 450 per kilo and then binibenta sa Kadiwa ng 175 or 170. And it is becoming, it has raised issues because palugi, okay? It is one thing for the government to subsidize, but when the government stands to lose millions of pesos in trying to assuage or para kumalma yung mga mainit ang ulong mga kusinero at mga misis, medyo questionable kasi sabi nga raw dun sa article, politically useful but economically disastrous. So because the Kadiwa is supposed to be a system where farmers get to sell their products directly or the government buys directly from farmers and then sells the same products to consumers without middlemen, with very little shipping costs na inflated, etc., etc. Ayun po. So ito, in this story, the Sugar Regulatory Administration wants the Kadiwa to sell the sugar, which is fine because they're smuggled. Kumbaga, no cost to the government. Wag lang pong i-auction or i-resell or lalagay sa auction kasi dyan po sa customs may system. Noon in the past, they will confiscate car. May mag-i-import, smuggle ng kotse, tapos papa-confiscate, pagkatapos magkakaroon ng public bidding, pero yung mga nagbibid, sila rin, mga importers din at sila lang ang magkakalaban at napag-usapan na yung presyo. But in this case, with the Kadiwa selling all of this, it's good, okay. It's issue nga yan kasi even those confiscated ukay-ukay, in other countries, they are burned. But then, the environmentalists say, teka, you're going to pollute the air. So ayaw ng environmentalist. Yung iba naman, hindi, di baon na lang sa lupa lahat yan, ayaw din ng environmentalist. So now, people are saying, do you give it to the poor? You give it to the orphanages. You give it to the people in prison, etc. In the areas where poverty-stricken areas. Pero dito po kasi sa Pilipinas talagang ang kailangan leader with political will. Yung parang gawin nyo. Wala akong pakialam, basta gawin nyo. Bahala na si Batman. Okay, so yun po. Anyway, now, okay, today, medyo mamaya-maya, inaayos lang natin yung setup natin. Okay, yung DND chief wants law on military fixed terms revised. The Senate and Congress passed a law that fixed the term, yung stay in office of military officials to 3 years. The idea behind it back then was to make sure there is no overstaying officers, there are no extensions of terms, etc. And there is a fast movement in promotion. Now, on paper, it looks good. But in reality, apparently, it did not result to efficient promotion. What happened was because sa dami naman ng generals, ng colonels, etc., like kumbaga sa restaurant na bilaukan, or there were just too many people in the ladder of command or in the chain of command that before an officer could finally get a shot at the promotion, wala na. Ubus na yung oras niya or his years of service. Because 3 years, maghihintay ka kung mamatay yung general o mag-retire. So, mapopromote yung colonel, maghihintay, so etc. Until finally, sabi ng mga bata, teka, mukhang lugi kami dyan. Okay, so, ayun po, yun po yung naging issue the last 2 weeks. And people are wondering, bakit nag-resign si Clarita Carlos? Bakit nag-resign yung dating DND, OIC, etc.? Well, from what I'm picking up, and we will discuss this later in the show, provided that things roll out the way we plan. From what I'm picking up here is that when President Bongbong Marcos came into office, there were a lot of promotions na napending. Okay, napending. Hindi ko na po uungkatin kung ilan yung mga promotions, but they were quite a lot. There was nothing political or controversial, napending lang because of bureaucracy and of law. Siyempre, ikaw, you have a fixed term of service. Kailangan by 55, graduate ka na, namumuro ka na. Sabi nga ni President Erap, namumuro ka na. Anong gagawin mo? What can you do? You have to really pray to heaven and earth para the promotions will be signed. And it seems that finally, before the president left for Davos, the promotions were signed. So, nagkalmahan na muli doon sa DND. Kasi nung merong na-appoint o na-re-appoint, yung nakaupo, umalis, so nagkaroon ng kumbaga nabitin lahat yan. And so now, it has been processed and moving forward. So we don't know exactly where things are. God willing, we will be able to find out later if we get the chance. Okay, now, Moving on. Sabihin nyo, Cito, haba yata ng news mo. Ganun po ang buhay. Wala pa yung bisita natin. Didadaldal muna ako. Okay. 3,697 health centers now offering jobs according to the Department of Health. Okay? Health Officer in Charge Maria Rosario Berjere said COVID vaccines are available in 3,697 primary care facilities nationwide. In the same announcement, OIC USEC Berjere also announced that the vaccination for COVID is now part of the package. Kumbaga, lahat ng mga vaccines na binibigay ng DOH, kasama na po yung para sa COVID. Hindi yan yung special vaccination program na kailangan mo pang pumila, magpaayos, etc., magpa-register. Ngayon, nandoon na po sa barangay at pwede nyo nang pagawa. And please, I am appealing to all of you, whether you are vaccinated or not vaccinated, let us jointly promote vaccination for COVID. You may agree, disagree, but if you are lying in a box, you cannot debate. You cannot argue kung ikaw ay nandoon sa intensive care unit ng hospital. Meron po akong kilala, long time politician, naging governor na, etc. Nabakunahan na nga siya Ayun, nasa ICU. Okay? Because A, because of his age. B, because of exposure. And that is what we don't want. We want you to be vaccinated. So kahit pa paano may depensa ka, you have at least the basic requirement for health, for protection against COVID. But second, if you're all wondering why is this issue with China such a big deal, why are people up in arms? Alam niyo po, even if we are all vaccinated, assuming that every Filipino is 100% vaccinated, here's the problem. Even if you're vaccinated, you can still get COVID. We all know that. The same thing with people who are vaccinated for chickenpox, they still get chickenpox. Not everybody does, but there are people who do. Now, imagine if 1 million, 2 million tourists come here and a few hundred or a few thousand of them bring COVID, they will spread that to our tourist destinations and they could infect some of the helpers, workers, restaurant, or hotel staff. Maapektuhan yung business. They could affect the airlines. They could affect the airport, etc., etc. Yung po, ayaw natin nung damay-damay, dali-dali. Okay. So now, last but not the least, a photo on the bottom of the front page of the Philippine Star featuring Lexus Philippines. Ayan, nilabas po ng Lexus Philippines yung kanilang, binuksan, yung kanilang outlet dyan sa Mitsukoshi in the Bonifacio Global City area. Okay, itong Mitsukoshi, if you're not familiar, is a very, very big department store. I think they're a chain in Japan and very popular with Filipino tourists kasi social and maraming mabibili, etc. So, ayun po, nagtayo ang Mitsukoshi ng branch dyan sa BGC and Lexus, which is one of the top brands for cars nowadays, luxury vehicles, also set up a display there. And there you go. You have photos of the Lexus Philippines officials with Senator William Gatchalian joining them in the posing. Okay, we will now go for a break here on Agenda. And when we return, we continue with the talkie-talkie interview if we can here on the program. Okay, welcome back to the program. And at this point of the program, instead of talking about national security, about Department of National Defense, bahala ka mo diha. Pag-usapan natin yung mas malapit sa sikmura. Let's talk about the state of agriculture in the Philippines, about agri-product prices, shortages, and smuggling with our first guest this morning. And Gab, do we have an intro material o straight to interview? Straight to interview na tayo. Okay, let's bring in our friend of the program, Carlito of Sinag. Carlito, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Manong Cito. Magandang umaga.
Okay, my first question, hindi ito trick question, Sir Rosendo, ha? Ano na po ba ang business niyo? Kayo po ba ay nasa piggery pa, nasa poultry na, o kayo ba ay nagtitinda na ng onion? Kasi ngayon parang hindi ko na malaman kung sino ang nagsara ng hanap buhay.
Yeah, so far yung sa piggery is nagre-rehab pala, no? Sabihin natin na talagang tinamaan tayo dun sa African swine fever, and ang nangyari is talagang yung rehabilitation mahirap kasi yung biosecurity kailangan natin bantayan. And kung makita mo, hindi lang yung problema ng mga nagbababoy, yung AI. Ito ulit, tinamaan yung Central Luzon, 2 million heads ang nawala na layer, no? And other parts pa. Ang estimate kasi namin nationwide umabot ng 4 million, no? Kaya yung biosecurity, yung first border na rini-request natin sa ating government, yung talagang unang dapat ayusin. Kasi kung hindi, yung masakit talaga dumadating, no? Pati yung sa sibuyas, kita mo yung harabas, grabe ang ngayon, tsaka yung full army worm doon sa mga mais natin, di ba? Ito is wala naman dati rito sa ating bansa. Ito is galing sa ibang bansa. Nagdala rito sa bansa natin, in which siyempre yung mga nag-smuggle or yung hindi na monitor ng ating government, yun ang pumapasok. Pinakita ka natin sa Senado yung smuggle of onion last year, almost 20 million kilos, di ba? Smuggled. Tapos yung pork, 76 million kilos, rice, 400 million kilos. So, ito is kung pumapasok kasi ito, kung hindi na i-check talaga, walang testing, talagang malaking problema natin at mag-spread sa bansa.
Okay, but Carlito, sa hanay ninyo, among your allies or among members and fellow racers, I remember many decades ago, or a few decades, baka naman a few decades na, mga 3 decades ago, when we had problems with sugar, ang nangyari, yung mga sugar planter, nag-hands up na at sabi, pwede ba kami na lang yung mag-i-import? Dahil ang hirap magtanim, lugi kami pag nagtatanim kami na lang yung mag-i-import. We will import the difference kasi kami ang directly affected. As far as Sinag, as far as the hog racers, poultry racers are concerned, have other members or other individuals gone into importing or even smuggling as well? Kumbaga, if you can't beat them, join them?
Yeah, marami, no? Kasi yung mga, kasi member ng Sinag is yung ProPort at National Federation, for example. Yung ProPort, mga member, marami nang nagpapasok din. Kasi sila is may chain sila sa distribution sa baba. So, sabihin mo, yung ProPort kasi mga member is a bounty, mga yan. So, yung ibang malalaki, tubina. So, kailangan nila magpasok dahil naubos yung yung stocks nila, ano? And makita natin billion-billion ang nawala sa kanila. So instead of mag-expand ito, yung tariff mas mababa. Ang puunan kasi, for example, sa meat, ang puunan lang ng importer with 5 to 15 tariff is nasa 110 to 130 pesos. Tres. Ibig sabihin, tres na ito. Ang puunan ng ating racer is nasa 150. Live weight. No? Live weight. So talagang, so ang ginagawa natin ngayon, in-encourage natin yung mga remaining racers na ialada mas malaki. Dati, nagkakatay. Sito, alam mo naman ang katay is nasa 90 kilos dati. Ngayon, kinakausap natin, umabot na ng 110, 120. Para yung cost of production bumaba. No? Pero ang problema natin ngayon, yung feeds naman, dumoble. No? Yung etong corn dati 13 pesos. Ngayon, 26 pesos ang presyo ng corn. No? So, doble yung mga ingredient na ginagamit. Yung darak, for example, dati nasa 9 pesos. Ngayon, 18. No? So, yung coco oil...
Hindi na ako nagtataka, ladies and gentlemen, kasi kung Pilipino kayo, alam ninyo kung ano yung IPA. If you are a Filipino, you are familiar with rice hull. And we are paying kami sa mga poultry, backyard lang po kami, no? We are paying 50 to 75 pesos per big sack of rice hull. Wala nga laman yun, hindi nga darak yun, balat na lang yun. Ganun pa kamahal.
Dati tinatapon yun. Ngayon pera na yun. No? And ang ano natin is talaga yung production cost. Kunyari, layer. May layer din tayo. Dati kasi yung tray, recycle natin. Ibig sabihin, pagbigay natin ng egg, yung bumili ng egg, magbibigay ng tray sa atin, dinadala natin sa farm natin, ginagamit ulit. No?
Correct.
Ngayon, hindi na. Dahil dito sa AI, bird flu, every tray na lumabas, tinatapon na lang yan. Dahil ayaw natin ipasok dun sa bakuran natin. No? Yun ang malaking problema.
And yet, when you go to the store to buy 1 tray of fresh eggs, sisingilan ka ng tindahan, hindi po supermarket, tindahan ng 5 pesos para dun sa tray.
Yes. And ngayon, yung cost, dati kasi yung buyer pwedeng pumunta sa farm, bumibili. Ngayon, may separated area, dinadala pa sa isang area. So yung mga cost of production talaga lumaki, disinfectant, and ito mga yung feeds, no? So talagang yung mga layer for the past last year to sinasabi natin, no, hindi nag-increase yung presyo, maraming nalugi and maraming tinamaan ng itong bird flu. So talagang nabawasan. So yung presyo ngayon na 730 to 740 na medium size, yun ang tamang presyo pa lang ngayon. Yun ang pwedeng kumita.
Magkano, can you repeat that, Kasendo, kung magkano na ang price ng itlog na yun? Kasi nagtatalo from the farm, ano ang alam mo?
Yeah, ako ang dito sa Luzon, yung meeting namin is ang bentahan nasa 730 to 760, no? Yun ang presyo. So
farm yun.
Sa farm yun, yung medium size ito, medium size.
Pagdating sa labas, patong piso, 2 piso?
Dapat piso. So, dapat nasa between 50 centavos to 1 peso. So, dapat nasa 8 to 8.50. Pero umabot yata ng 9, balita namin, no? So,
sa medium lang yun?
Sa medium size, Yun ang gauge natin. Kasi kung lahat pa natin, pag-usapan, medyo mahaba. So, yung medium size, yun ang gauge na ginagawa natin. Na in which naman, yung presyo ngayon, at least yung mga ibang racer, babalik yan. No? Magte-take ng risk maski may etong bird flu, mag-aalaga. Pero kung lesser than that price, lalong mababawasan tayo.
Pero Kasendo, hindi ba ang katapat lang naman yan is vaccination? I don't know, ewan ko kung ibang variety ito. Kasi kami dito, talagang ilang piraso lang naman. Pero every 3 months, nagbabakuna ako.
Yeah, marami kasing bakuna ngayon eh, no? Ang bakuna natin is from 7 days nag-start, nagbabakuna na tayo ng other ano yung pinapatak sa mata, di ba? And other mga dire-diretso yan yung bakuna. Pero yung ano kasi itong layer, di ba? Pag kinuha mo yan sisyo, 1-day sisyo yan. So inaalaga natin yan up to 4 months bago mangitlog yan, no?
Correct.
So yung time na line na sinasabi natin sa ating government, yung presyo talagang mahirap bumaba kasi yung kukuha ng sisyo ngayon, it will take mga 4 months pa, no? So patatagalan yung presyong gano'n, yun ang sinasabi natin. Kaya pag ibaba mo naman, malugi yung mga magbabalik na mag-aalaga, baka mag-back out naman.
Alam mo, Kasendong, there are people who are saying, bakit ba kayong mga media parang bigla ngayon at tinitira nyo ng tinitira yung agriculture? Hindi yata naintindihan ng tao what the state of agriculture is. As far as piggeries are concerned, how many % have we lost in terms of farms? In terms of poultry, how many have closed?
Yeah. Sa piggery dito sa Luzon, 70% has totally closed. No? And ngayon nagre-rehab. Pero yung mga nag-try again in Tarlac and Bulacan, nag-fail ulit, no? Dahil yung biosecurity, malaking problema. And ngayon, nakita na ng government, mahihirapan talagang backyard. Totally mahihirapan ng backyard kasi doon nag-spread eh. So yung may biosecurity talaga, yun ang kailangan na binabantayan nila ngayon, no? Kung ito is maka-generate ng additional.
It would, kasi in the Philippines, 65% of farms or 65% of the supply of hogs of pork comes from backyard farms, or at least that was before COVID. And then ASF hit us and decimated 70 to 75% ng mga farms. Even San Miguel, pinasara na yung kanilang Monterrey, pinasara na yung kanilang mga farms dahil sabi nila that's suicide. Anong mangyayari sa atin? Only big corporations that have farm processing and farm dressing and processing all in. Walang makakapasok, lalabas lang, finished product na. Ganun na lang ang labanan.
Yung medium size nag-ano ngayon. Kasi yung medium size na mga farm, hindi pinapalabas yung mga tao eh. Ibig sabihin yung mga tao na sa loob ng farm, nandun na yung pagkain, nandun na yung mga asawa, anak nila. So within the area, hindi talaga pinapalabas ngayon. And nakikita natin, mas effective yun, no? Pero ang problema is yung nagsubok ulit na nag-alaga, tinamaan ulit. So ang inaano nila, yung feeds na nadala sa kanila, pwedeng doon sa feeds kasi hindi pa sila nagbebenta, nag-expand pala, no? Ibig sabihin na nagre-repopulate na hindi pa nagbebenta, pero tinamaan pa rin. Yung mga tao nila hindi lumabas, no? So yung isang inaanil ng mga player, no? Maski yung malalaki sinasabi is yung feeds pwedeng makontaminate din ng ASF.
Delivery, not necessarily the feeds but the delivery.
Yes.
Mga trucks, mga delivery personnel, sila yung nagdala.
Pero yung mga trucks, very na tayo eh. Ang ginagawa ng mga racer is dinideliver sa isang lugar, no? So yung truck na magpipick up doon is sa kanilang truck yun, no? Dinidisinfectant, tapos dinideliver sa farm. So maingat pero tinamaan pa rin, no? So ibig sabihin, may contamination na sa feeds, gano'n. And maniwala ka, Manong Cito, pati groundwater tested positive. So ganun katindi.
Anak ng pating, pati yung mga sa deep well.
Yes. So
Kasi maraming barangay, marami sa mga lugar sa Pilipinas, wala naman silang sewage system. Ang mga kanilang mga poso negro, pag napupuno, tapon sa lupa, and then balik sa lupa, yun naman ang ihigupin ng mga ibang farms, tapos yung pala, nandun na lahat yung mga diferensya.
yes, oo. Kaya kung makita mo yung Bulacan na dati maraming hito, di ba? Dahil yung mga piggery nag-alaga ng hito, yun ang naunang tinamaan, no? So yung malaking problema talaga, kung makita mo yung construction ng China, building na building, di ba? So yung is talagang yung biosecurity is very important. So kaya palagi tayong nanawagan sa atin na Department of Agriculture na dapat yung pagpasok lahat i-test, no, para
pero meron ba tayong nakakausap sa Department of Agriculture maliban doon sa kanilang spokesperson? Kasi ako nag-umpisa akong tulong ng tulong sa kanila doon sa panahon ni Secretary Dar, tapos nagkaroon na ng ASF, parang bihira na silang makakausap. Tapos nung nagbago na administrasyon, we can't get anyone on the program even when we're trying to promote their program. What is your experience with the DA?
Yeah, so far, ang very active ngayon, si ASEC James Layog, no, yung sa anti-smuggling. Medyo nakikita natin maganda, no? Si Rex as spokesman, nakita naman natin medyo okay kasi kung nagkakamali siya, kino-correct niya, no? And he's learning kasi dati nasa NFA siya, no? Yung bigas ang kabisado talaga niya. Yung si ASEC Christine, okay naman yung Kadiwa, maganda naman yung programa pero wala siyang pondo. Ang nangyari is yung FTI pa ang kumuha ng sibuyas na mahal, di ba? 537. So sana yung pondo kung nasa Kadiwa yan, siguro yung sibuyas nabili sa farm gate ng mas mababa. So parang ang nangyari doon sa sibuyas, nakibit pa yung FTI na nakaakyat ng presyo doon sa farm gate, di ba?
Patay. Okay, now, Kasendo, may tanong dito ang desk namin. Anong reaction ninyo regarding Senator Coco Pimentel saying there's some price manipulation in onion? Yung iba sabi, minamanipula yung presyo, pinapataas talaga. Sabi naman ng mga ibang senador, merong mga hoarders. Pinag-aralan namin ng misis ko kahapon, yung misis ko tiga Netherlands. Sabi, doon, ang tindi na agriculture doon. Sabi, paano mo itatago yung onion? You know, you can only hide it for so long, and then even in cold storage, you will have problems with fungus and deterioration, etc.
Yeah, parang Cito, inamin naman ng DA, nagkamali sila, no? And kasi nag-meeting tayo with the President, we have suggested. Tayo naman imagine first time ang Sinag nag-suggest na magpasok, di ba? Nakita kasi natin nung October time, may kakulangan talaga. And ubos na yung puting sibuyas. So, we have suggested na magpasok. Nagkaroon ng meeting, after yung meeting ng Presidente, nagkaroon ng meeting with the DA and BPI and the industry, yung mga nagsisibuyas. BPI have suggested to import 15,000 metric tons at that time. So, ang sabi ng farmers, baka pwede natin ihati 7,500. No? So, kung pumasok sana yun, ang usapan is kung nagkakaroon ng kulang, another 7.5. Kasi, alam naman natin yung cycle ng sibuyas, no? Magtatanim ka ng October, November, December, January. Ang harvest mo, January to April, no? To May, sabihin natin. After that, wala na. Yung puting sibuyas, 3 months lang yung pwede mong ilagay sa cold storage. So by September, October, wala na talaga yun. Di ba? So, kailangan mag-angkat na talaga. So, hindi tayo nag-angkat. Yung mga consumer ng puti, yung mga pizza, yung mga gumamit ng pula. So, naapektuhan yung volume ng pula. Nagkaubusan. Okay. Yun ang talagang nangyari. Na in which, inamin ng DA naman yan. No? Sabi nila kung pwede, moving forward.
So in the final equation, hindi to price manipulation, hindi to hoarding, talagang wala. We failed to import. The question is, who does the importation ba, Kasendo? Kasi ang impression ng marami, it is the government that imports. But some people in our group say, no, it is still private sector who does the import, not Kadiwa, not FTI, not BAI.
Yeah. Ang nag-i-issue kasi ng itong SPSIC, ito phytosanitary
Bureau plan
certificate is Bureau plan. Kung hindi na-approve yung SPSIC, kung nagpasok ka, illegal. Di ba? Ang bottom line dyan, hindi nag-issue talaga ng SPSIC between...
but the government also did not import on its own. Hindi nag-import yung DTI agency, yung BAI, yung BPI, wala.
Never naman sila nag-import eh.
Exactly.
Never.
So lahat tayo nakatunga nga, nagbabayad ng mahal na sibuyas.
Yes. And yun, siguro yung mga ibang, kasi nung nag-invento ulit kami ng December 3, no? Nakita natin yung law of stocks. Yung Nueva Ecija, isang may-ari na lang meron. Di ba? So, idadahan-dahan niya. Siyempre, yung tumataas yung presyo, pwedeng yun, no? Pero hindi niya hinuhoard. Pero binebenta niya dahan-dahan. Yung Pangasinan, wala nang stocks at that time. So, yung anihan talaga natin is yung January. Third week of January, pababa. And kung makikita natin, talagang kulang ng stocks ng November, December.
Kasendo, I will invite you back to the show. Pag-usapan pa rin natin to. Medyo binibigyan ko lang ng space kasi baka, alam mo, medyo hindi matunawan yung mga viewers natin. Sabagay, wala nang tutunawin. Wala nang mabili. Ang mahal-mahal eh. No? Okay, thank you very much, Sir Rosendo So ng Sinag. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, maraming salamat, Manong Cito. Magandang umaga.
That's Caro Sendoso, President sa Mahang Industriya ng Agrikultura or the Agriculture Industry Organization, SINAG. Okay, now, ano nangyari sa ating technical? Okay, we'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, the forecast is 6.5% growth rate for the economy. So, yun ang tanong ng maraming Pilipino. What's in it for me? With us is the RCBC, Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation Chief Economist, Mike Ricafort. Mike, good morning.
Good morning po, Cito, at sa inyo po mga taga-subaybay.
Okay, so sorry for this, pulling you out of your breakfast, but just for our viewers to understand, what is the significance of this economic growth forecast, and when do you say it's good or when do you say, okay, that's not good? Kasi sabi 6.5, failing ba yan? Passing? How do we determine?
Well, this is one of the fastest in the region. Apparently for this year, that forecast of around 6 to 6.5%. Actually, that's possible because that has been our growth trajectory even before the pandemic from 2012 to 2019. And however, we came from a much higher growth of, it's estimated that between 7.6 to 7.8% for 2022. But because it came from a lower base, there were some pockets of lockdowns in 2021. That's why, because of the lower denominator, we were expecting a much faster growth for 2022. But for 2023, for this year, we don't have large lockdowns anymore in 2022. So this is already the real thing, no? There won't be any base effects anymore. Kumbaga, ito na lang yung tunay eh. So what's really driving this, no? So this is relatively decent. As I mentioned, this is among the fastest in the region, in ASEAN, in Asia, compared to our neighbors. Despite risk of recession in the US because of the aggressive Fed rate hikes, but it's somewhat engineered. It's offset, however, by the reopening of China, which is the world's second biggest economy. They're just contending with the surge in cases. But what's really more important, the reopening of the economy towards greater normalcy. We're almost back to normal compared to, say, a few months ago, no? And we have seen the resumption of tourism, which is a growth driver, the reopening of schools since August of last year, and of course the further pickup in domestic tourism, because those are the missing elements of the recovery since the pandemic. They're now back on track. They're in the right recovery path. No? So this would all translate the reopening. Of course, people are now we're now free. No, when it comes to business and industries. No, there are no more restrictions on businesses, on employment, on work, on livelihoods. So we're free. We can do whatever we want in terms of business and economics.
Pasensya ka na, yung aking economics, Eco 11, ulit pa, no? Pero as far as, so this is domestic driven, number one.
Opo, that's right po.
Okay, so it's domestic driven, domestic consumption, and what needs to happen for this to be a sure thing? Kasi I just read the news and the header was saying yesterday, I believe, that the OFW transmittals kind of slowed down because of inflation from the origin countries. Now, what needs to happen in the Philippines?
But right now, Mr. Cito, actually, we started the year with some pleasant surprise, like the reduction in individual income tax rates. So, tumaas yung take-home pay ng mga yung karamihan ng income brackets dahil doon sa under the train, no? So scheduled talaga to. So at least that's a welcome development that would help offset the adverse impact of inflation or higher prices. So this would help boost consumer spending, which accounts for more than 70% of the economy. And also the growth drivers still, no? If you look at the indicators, dahil nga bukas na yung ekonomiya, yung exports natin ni record high. Yung remittances, kahit nag-slow down yan to 6 months, close through, dahil doon sa inflation sa abroad, sa host countries, pati rin po dito. Pero that's still decent, no? It still grew by 5.7% year on year. No? And it's still near the record highs kahit papaano. Despite the pandemic, dahil kakailanganin pa rin po magpadala ng mas marami to also cope up with higher prices or inflation. No? Kaya ano pa rin yun. Tapos yung iba pa pong indicators, manufacturing, as consistent go to sa exports na ni-record high, among pre-pandemic highs, kahit yung foreign direct investments, nag-pick up na po. In a single month, more than 900 million. That's the highest in 6 months and also among pre-pandemic highs. So, ang daming economic indicators, even some employment data natin, no? Among the best levels since revised record started in 17 years, no? Since 2005. Dahil sa kakabukas ng ekonomiya. Of course, it's another thing, kung himayin po natin yan, meron pa rin underemployment kasi medyo patient pa rin po tayo sa recovery.
Sorry Mike, no? Medyo naubusan na naman tayo ng oras. But in short, because we are open for business in more ways than one, our economy has all the push it can get to reach 6.5.
Opo, that's right. Medyo na-overshadow po ng reopening yung, siyempre may pagsusubok pa rin po. There are risks like higher prices, higher interest rate, na-overshadow po nun ng reopening narrative natin. Yung China, nagre-reopen din po. No? Kaya, yun, maganda rin po.
Palagay ko, mauunahan natin sila. But sorry Mike, I will have to go because kung hindi, ako naman ang masya-shutdown dito. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mike Ricafort, Chief Economist of RCBC, for closing our program today on a very optimistic note. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cito, and to your viewers.
Okay, that's Mike Ricafort. Let's now go to our closing blessing for this week, and it goes, may your house have no sickness, no death, no evil in 2023, in the name of Jesus. Amen. I'm Cito Beltran, thanking you, thanking our guests for joining us today, and God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News.